If you haven't already, check out my main channel for Star Wars What If stories. You can also follow me on both Instagram and Twitter for future updates on all of my content posted on here. What if the timeline took a dark turn in the end of Man of Steel? What if Zod killed Superman? We're going to dive into part 2 of this DC What If story, so make sure to watch part 1 first. As we approach an altered version of BVS later into this timeline, Bruce Wayne had been conjuring a plan to kill the ruthless Kryptonian invader, General Zod. Batman's reputation is one of preparing in any and all encounters, no matter how big or small. This would be his greatest battle yet. Over the course of time after the death of Superman, Bruce Wayne had spent sleepless nights in the Batcave, digging into General Zod with the hope of discovering any potential weaknesses or flaws that he could exploit from this foreign conqueror. During one of those sleepless nights, Bruce Wayne was awakened by a strange man who yelled his name through a portal. It was Barry Allen. He told Bruce that he needed to listen to him carefully and that he doesn't have much time left. He repeatedly shouted that the mother box was the key and that Bruce needed to find him. Before he could finish his sentence, Barry said if he arrived too soon. The red armored speedster then suddenly vanished into thin air. Bruce woke up suddenly, gasping for air to what he believed was a premonition. He looked to his computer, noticing his encryption to hack the DoD was a success. As Bruce proceeded to look into the DoD files for any helpful information on Zod, he eventually did stumble upon top secret files of US drone footage, specifically footage of the drone that had captured Zod in the Indian Ocean following the death of Superman later on. As Bruce skimmed through the videos, his attention was caught by the scene of General Zod being visibly hurt by the rock formation object he had brought to shore when he swam into the world engine wreckage underwater. Using the highly advanced technology of the Batcomputer, Bruce zoomed into the object that hurt Zod on the beach shoreline. It was here that he first saw and knew about kryptonite, to which he informs Alfred about. He saved the footage and highlighted the green rock for reference into his data folder. Just a few days later, Bruce sent one of his own remote-controlled bat drones to investigate the crash site with the hope of finding the green rock. But when Bruce drove his drone to the exact spot, it wasn't there. He believed someone must have taken it. As he continued searching throughout the area, Bruce noticed a nearby drone in the distance. He drove his away as to not be spotted and proceeded to hack into it remotely. Flying the drone back to Gotham, Bruce discovered that the foreign drone was LexCorp property as he observed the stolen data on the Batcomputer. The LexCorp drone had a digital address that was linked to an underground LexCorp facility. He had also found out that LexCorp had also been searching for more kryptonite that was spotted at the crash site in the Indian Ocean. It's here when Bruce made the connection and hacked into LexCorp, where he then found out about the kryptonite stored in the underground facility owned by Lex Luthor. So with the DoD footage, and now this in his hands, he tracked down the facility's location and stole some of the kryptonite as Batman. When Lex Luthor was alerted of this intrusion, he believed the Bat of Gotham would soon confront General Zod. This was the perfect distraction Lex needed to send his men into the scout ship if the opportunity came. The answer to Kryptonians and Zod all lied within the confines of the alien spacecraft. When General Zod flew over to the Indian Ocean prior to Bruce investigating the crash site via his Bat drone, Anatoly Knyazev, also known as KG Beast, along with his group of hired mercenaries, were hired to keep a watchful eye on Zod's movements from a far distance. Just like in the original DCEU timeline, he had been hired by Lex Luthor in this universe to track down and document the Kryptonians' travel patterns using drones and high-tech equipment. KG Beast witnessed Zod destroy the US drone in the Indian Ocean. He informed Luthor, who then hacked into the DoD database. It was then that Lex had come to see the footage of Zod being violently harmed by the kryptonite. That led to Lex sending KG Beast and his men to investigate the world engine crash site and retrieve anything that seemed out of the ordinary, specifically the rock formation that was seen on the piece of footage that hurt Zod. He eventually did find it and brought it to Lex at his underground facility. Shortly after, Lex and his remaining scientists ran tests on the kryptonite rock. He believed that he had found the key to killing General Zod. Back in present day, Batman had returned from infiltrating the LexCorp facility. We get a similar montage of Bruce training and further testing the kryptonite to eventually confront General Zod. In the original timeline, Batman was not justified in wanting to kill the Kryptonian Superman. but he is justified in wanting to eliminate Zod in this universe, seeing as Zod had brought the end of the world. For one last time, Bruce visited the old Wayne mansion. He stood in front of the fireplace, staring into the darkness just as Alfred walked in and said,
"You know you can't win this. It's suicide."
I'm older now than my father ever was. This may be the only thing I do that matters.
20 years of fighting criminals amounts to nothing.
Criminals are like weeds, Alfred. Pull one up, another grows in its place. This is about the future of the world. It's my legacy.
Bruce had nothing more to lose in this universe. The world was becoming a wasteland by each passing day. Even though it was still functioning, Gotham was a ghost town, and the legacy of the Batman no longer had any meaning, as the world was crumbling into Armageddon. What was the point of guarding Gotham if there wasn't a world to begin with? If there weren't any people? Bruce believed the only thing that would bring back the natural order of mankind was the death of Zod, who he viewed as a displaced parasite, a demon from hell who came from the stars. He believed that no one was capable to confront this godlike invader except him, except the Batman. For good reason, Alfred didn't want Bruce to face Zod, as he viewed it to be a suicide assignment. Zod was not only far too powerful for Batman, but he possessed the abilities of a god, while Bruce Wayne was just a mere mortal man. Bruce wouldn't take Alfred's words of wisdom. The fever and the rage was already consuming his soul. He ignored him and proceeded with his plan. Batman wouldn't be able to win this fight with mere strength, which is why he depended on his greatest asset, his mind and intelligence. Bruce had studied Zod's attacks long enough to where he was comfortable and confident in confronting this murderer. Back in Metropolis, General Zod paced around the mother box that was kept securely in an observation room within the ship. It had been a while since the box was breathing. He still couldn't fully understand how the cube-shaped object worked. It was so foreign that even the scout ship AI had issues examining its foreign nature. But very shortly, Zod's pacing would be interrupted, as somewhere in Gotham City, Batman had ignited his signal into the ashy black sky. Bruce Wayne was prepared to go to war. Realistically and practically, Batman stood absolutely no chance against a being like Zod. He barely stood against Superman in the original timeline, and that's with Clark purposely holding back, with no real intentions to kill the vigilante. General Zod isn't Clark, and he doesn't hold back, and he's much more ruthless. If Batman were to fight Zod in this scenario, he would approach this confrontation opposite to how he confronted the Superman fight. It would need to be from a defensive point, instead of an offensive one. Even though Batman didn't fully understand Kryptonian biology, he understood that the kryptonite could kill General Zod. The kryptonite-based weapons he had built were the only chance he had at winning. In Metropolis, General Zod suddenly heard explosions outside of the scout ship. He flew out to see who was foolish enough to attack him. A few set of small black-colored drones had been firing upon his hideout. Once Zod effortlessly destroyed them, he noticed a strange glowing light up in the sky. It was the bat signal coming from the ruins of Gotham. He figured that this was the source of the attack, as both Metropolis and Gotham had been silent ever since he killed Superman. There hadn't been an active soul on the surface. Zod flew towards the source of the bat signal. He was consumed by the cold raindrops that bled from the thundering sky. He landed on the rooftop and took a glance around the light source for a few seconds. Suddenly, it exploded. Green kryptonite mist filled his lungs. Batman had booby-trapped it. The Kryptonian warrior did an x-ray through it, as he didn't think much of it. He collapsed to the floor coughing violently, as he did in the Indian Ocean. Batman observed him from far away, using a pair of advanced binoculars. Bruce had been isolated inside a building. He opened up a remote control pad and flew more drones to Zod, firing at him. This was an unexpected surprise to the general. He quickly made a run for it, jumping through the floors of the abandoned building. But just as he took another step, the entire floor of the rooftop collapsed from underneath as another set of explosives went off. He quickly recovered, making short work of the drones. But then a whole wave of miniature bat drones appeared, and they began to overwhelm Zod. With this distraction, Batman jumped into an aircraft and proceeded to fly towards Zod, firing at him. Bruce had laced some of the bullets with small amounts of kryptonite, as he didn't want to waste his only source on killing Zod. Most of the kryptonite went to his spear and grenade launcher. Just as Zod finished destroying the remaining drones, a blinding flash of light ignited down the street. He overheard a loud engine roaring. It was the Batmobile. The vehicle sped towards Zod, firing a barrage of missiles, bombs, and bullets. He was able to avoid any lethal blow. However, he was hurt and grazed by some of the incoming bullets. Enraged, he picked up the Batmobile as it attempted to run him over. He flipped it, throwing the vehicle like a piece of plastic, and crushed it. Zod ripped off the doors of the cockpit seat, only to find a bomb strapped to the chair. It exploded in his face, sending him crashing backwards into the muddy ground and consuming him again with kryptonite gas. As Zod attempted to regain his consciousness, the Batwing flew into visible view. Batman immediately began firing at him, circling around Zod and coming back. The general was still dazed from the sudden kryptonite attacks. He couldn't get a good look and aim at the Batwing for a few moments. When Bruce came around the third time, Zod had regained most of his strength back. He focused his attention to the bat-shaped aircraft that began firing upon him yet again. It took a few seconds, but after landing a direct hit with his heat vision, Batman crushed down immediately. The doors of the Batwing had been ripped off. Standing just a few feet away from the crashed aircraft, Zod showed a look of surprise, not out of fear, but fascination and respect. Besides the fact that a man in a bat suit was attacking him, he was more interested in who Batman was. Zod would have never considered a single mortal man daring to attack him. A part of Zod had a bit of respect for the Bat, due to his bravery. Bruce sat there stunned. Not a word was spoken. He knew the end was near for him. Zod would tell him that he isn't like the other humans, that he is different, bold enough to confront someone who surpasses him in all aspects, knowing well he stood no real chance. For this, Zod had an inch of respect. Way behind Zod, in the same building that Batman was isolated in, an automated sniper rifle laced with a couple of kryptonite bullets was mounted on a balcony. It was activated and locked onto Zod. Bruce pressed a button on his gauntlet. The bullet from the sniper fired. Zod was much more aware of his surroundings now. The second he heard the gunfire, he moved out of the way and incinerated the weapon from a distance, using his X-ray and heat vision. He floated back down slowly, staring directly into Batman's eyes. Zod's last words to Batman were ones of honor, yet dismissive. He told Bruce he has admiration for his will to confront him, but ultimately that this is the natural order of this new world he had conquered. He told Batman that he is about to reunite with the people of his ghost town, and says that he has the evolutionary advantage of which Batman and the rest of the humans never will, just as Feora told Superman when they fought in Smallville.
The fact that you possess a sense of morality and we do not gives us an evolutionary advantage.
Zod's eyes lit up with a hellish red hue as heat vision fired out directly into Batman's direction. But something saved Bruce from being burned alive. It was a someone. That someone was Diana Prince. Wonder Woman had appeared, shielding Bruce from what would have instantly killed him. Zod expressed a look of anger and confusion before he could say something or react to Wonder Woman's presence. She redirected the energy absorbed by clashing her gauntlets. The Kryptonian invader was sent flying back, crashing into a nearby building. Diana had been tracking down Zod ever since he killed Superman. She had first found out of his crimes when he was televised globally. It took some time, but she finally found the right moment to strike. Diana worriedly turned to Bruce and helped him out of the cockpit. He asked her who she was and why she was here. Diana then told Bruce that she's a mutual friend of mankind, one who had been hunting down and tracking Zod's patterns across the globe. Diana asked Bruce what was his plan to kill Zod.
There's a weapon here that can kill it.
An infuriated Zod approached from the ashes. He told Wonder Woman that she is not of this world, to which Diana responded, neither was he, as she would draw her sword and shield. Without wasting time, he dashed towards Wonder Woman, and the two begun to fight. Bruce searched for the last remaining kryptonite weapons on him. He picked up his grenades and loaded them into his launcher. He went to retrieve his spear and strapped it to his back. Batman's new objective was to get a good lock on Zod and fire another kryptonite grenade at him to weaken him and potentially go in for a killing blow using the spear. at one point between their brawl. Zod asked Diana who and where she was from, as she clearly exhibited non-human-like qualities. For a moment, he thought she could have been an ancient Kryptonian from a possible colony group that had landed on Earth thousands of years prior. Diana told him that all he needed to know was that she would kill him, and that he is a plague on Earth. The fight between the two lasted a decent amount of time, but ultimately Diana was just not powerful enough nor prepared to defeat someone like General Zod. During the fight, Bruce managed to land a hit on Zod with his kryptonite gun. Zod lunged to Batman, and he very quickly shot his grappling hook to safety. Bruce barely made it out alive, as he avoided the massive heat vision blast Zod shot at him. He crashed upon the wall he had retreated to, then fell on a railing and dropped his grappling hook. General Zod proceeded to slam into the building, which sent Bruce tumbling down. He hid in the debris that followed, as he really couldn't do much. Before Zod could lay eyes on the bat using his X-ray, Diana came charging in, bashing his face with her shield. In the original timeline, Diana struggled against a slightly mind-warped Superman. Zod is not only as powerful as Superman, but he's more skillful due to his tactical and combat skill sets as a warrior. He was bred to be one, quite literally.
I was bred to be a warrior, Cal. Trained my entire life to master my senses.
Near the end, Bruce realized this was a losing battle. He couldn't get close to Zod without being completely manhandled and squashed. Diana was struggling alone, and Bruce prepared to outsmart Zod in a one-on-one isolated encounter. But he didn't prepare for a being like Wonder Woman to interfere and change the tide of the battle. They needed to retreat and rethink their steps. This was precisely what they did. Batman and Wonder Woman managed to escape back to the Batcave, still being slightly hurt by the kryptonite gas bombs that Bruce shot at him during his fight with Diana. Zod retreated as well, back to the scout ship at Metropolis to heal his wounds. As he stumbled onto the scout ship, he heard the mother box breathing again. He went to touch it, and the box began to violently shake and float into the air. It suddenly started repairing the scout ship from the inside, essentially making it functional once more. Being absolutely astounded, with a bit of relief and joy, General Zod rushed to the cockpit as the ship's AI informed him that the foreign object had indeed repaired the ship back to 100% capacity. Back in the Batcave, Batman removed his mask. It's here where Diana and Bruce were properly introduced to each other. They bring each other up to speed on what they had been doing in their time apart. As they conversed later that week outside, Bruce asked Diana to help her find others like her. This could both mean people who are willing to stand up to Zod, or quite literally, people like Diana, who are powered beings. Their next plan was to recruit and find people who are willing to fight for what's left of humanity.
Help me find the others like you.
Perhaps they don't want to be found.
They will. And they'll fight. We have to stand together.
100 years ago, I walked away from mankind. From a century of horrors. Man made a world where standing together is impossible.
Inside the scout ship, General Zod stood in front of the now quiet mother box and asked the AI inside the ship how was it able to fix the spacecraft. The AI was able to run a quick analysis to better understand the mother box. It told Zod that this foreign piece of technology was a form of living matter that could manipulate said matter into any form. A light bulb went off in Zod's head immediately. He had gotten the idea to use the box to repair the world engine and possibly reconstruct the Black Zero. He asked the AI if this could be possible, to which it answered with a yes, telling Zod that it is theoretically likely. Somewhere, Amanda Waller had carefully been monitoring General Zod's movements long after he killed Superman. She had put together a group of unlikely individuals for a literal suicide mission, one that involved killing Zod and retrieving the mother box. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this continuation from part 1. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.